До свидания, товарищ.
Hello and welcome, Blood Bowl fans. We are here to bring you the Season 14 Division 4A Week 4. I'm here with the special guest star, SirSebstar. I'm butchering, of course, so I'll be telling, and hello, top comment for you. I'll be butchering this, of course, but here's our
Sebastian
special.
is fine.
Yeah, we'll go with Sir Sebastian. So yeah, Sir Sebastian, welcome,
Yes.
welcome. Yes, because Supra couldn't join us this week, but he's with us with the spirit. And before we start, Sebastian, please tell us something about you.
I've been a global coach for a while, but strictly tabletop. And I've recently started playing online, which for me is totally new. Last season I played in the minors. Got kicked out in the first game of the playoffs and won 2 games in the OSI. And yeah, I like Blood Bowl. It's basically the only game I play. And yeah, that's totally new online. And for me, it's a totally different game because online and offline, tabletop is something you do for social happening and enjoyment, where the social component of online Blood Bowl is a lot less. And well, online it does help that you don't have to roll the dice yourself, which also takes a lot of time. So basically, I play one game once every 2 months or so, and now it's one game every week, which is a bit different in tempo for me. So that's basically me.
And as Top Combat says in chat, where Blood Bowl 2 you play just to suffer. Yes, a bit. We all do suffer and play here. Yeah.
It's horrible. I've got horrible opponents. They must be evil persons.
Yeah, basically
Yep.
all of them are, yeah. Yeah, that's basically that. Oh, and one more question for me. So, how long have you been playing Blood Bowl in general?
I started in university. I did that for a year and a half, where I got taught the start of Blood Bowl, which was I think second or third edition, and then I picked it up again in 2008. Since 2008, I've been playing a few games.
Yeah, that's great. Top Command says that he's more chaotic neutral. To be honest, playing Blood Elves, Dark Elves, or whatever they are called, the only thing you can be is chaotic evil. That's basically the highest bar I can give you.
Yeah.
Yeah, you don't even go for lawful evil. You're just chaotic evil. Yeah.
Definitely.
No.
I'm
And
more the lawful type.
yeah, and so Top Command says that you are his final boss in this season. Hope you are ready.
Obviously, I'm from now on. I'm going to destroy. I've had my 3 losses, and it's straight wins from now on. So get ready to be crushed, because after the game of last week, there's no way Nuffle will ever give me a skull. It will just be straight up clear pause kills.
I would like to see that. Oh, Top Command says that his team is about safety and consent. Yeah, right. Yeah, keep believing that. Keep believing that.
I'm totally consenting to casualty all these guys into the safety car and then total it. Sure.
Dear sir, would you like to die here? I hope you do. Thank you for agreeing. I know, it's hard to talk with a stick in your mouth, but don't worry. We'll take care of everything.
Well, you know, the thing with Necro is we don't mind dying.
Yeah.
We just don't stay dead.
Yeah.
Unless you're a werewolf, then you do.
Yeah.
But other than that.
Yeah, Top Command also said that he's sorry that your doggy died.
Yeah, thanks. The other werewolf, actually, in the last 8 games, he only played 4 times and then got casualties or niggled or whatever in turn 1. except against our dear caster for last week game, because then it got KO'd in turn 0, and it didn't come back until turn 16, which I thought was quite a, at least I had a turn out of him
Yeah.
where it didn't double skull and then
Always
die.
look on the bright side.
Yes, I'm actually thinking that I would have liked to play you again and then teach you how to properly play Blood Bowl.
Oh, you're welcome. To be honest, I did have a little advantage because I did play. Nowadays I don't, but I did play a lot of Necro. So yeah, I even got a custom-made Necro team made out of Skavens. So yeah.
Nice.
Yeah.
I think for me the game, my experience is based around basically tournaments and low low team value. So basically 1100, 1200 at most. And playing with teams of 1500 or higher is a totally different ball game. It's incomparable, and I'm finding it very hard to adjust.
Oh, so Topcoma is now saying that I am playing with him week 7, so I should be prepared. Basically, I'm hoping that people will kill you as much that I'll be playing against nothing other than journeyman alignment. So yeah, I'm prepared.
Yeah, and I'm thinking that I may actually have my wolf upgraded with block and tackle by the time I finish his dark elves or faces dark elves, and then hope to actually destroy it as well.
Yeah, we will see what happens. Oh, and another big question for me, because well, this is a stream about Blood Bowl in general, not only a tabletop one. So, will you be visiting my lovely country of Poland for the Euro Bowl this year?
Oh, certainly, yes. I will be there. I've been there. I've been to the last 5 Euro Bowls that the Netherlands went to, because we didn't go to all of them. I've been going there since 2008. I also went to Lucca, the World Cup, and last year in uh, Derenborn.
Dornbirn
And
or whatever it's called.
Dornbirn,
Yeah,
yeah.
where in Poland we pronounce it Dorbirn, but I don't know how it's called originally.
Yeah, it's not a very good town or place to do this, but the venue was big enough, so that's a plus. Yeah, and I'm looking forward to being in Poland, except that I've got a friend with a Polish wife, and he basically told me it's near the airport. You will not see the city, and I'm actually wondering if we can get any kind of nightlife.
Well, to be honest, in Warsaw nightlife isn't that difficult to catch, and you can always get an Uber and see a bit of the city. So yeah. So basically,
Well,
because I think I was missed, I did a not mispronunciation. I did mistake because you are playing in the Dutch national team, if I recall correctly, right?
yeah, that's correct.
Yeah, and I was thinking it was I was thinking it was the dwarves coach.
Well, I only recently understood that he was Dutch as well. So yeah, that is interesting. There is a active Dutch tournament scene, but not a lot of Dutch people in it.
Oh.
Basically, the last Dutch Open was during Super Bowl weekend, and there's 40 coaches. 20, it was filled at 40 coaches to capacity. So but 20 coaches are Dutch, and then 20 coaches are international, which makes it very much fun. But if any Dutch listeners are here, please make yourself known on the Dutch tournament scene.
Yeah. Or basically, we are as tournament wise, we are having here in my hometown a big tournament this weekend, and we got like 77, 78, 79, 80 people currently. So yeah.
Nice. Yeah, normally the Dutch Open got about 100 coaches or more.
Yeah, last year the Polish Open did had 100 and a few players. Yeah, it was quite massive, especially that our scene is like only 2 years old, to be honest. So yeah.
Nice. Yeah, it's good to see that Blood Bowl is back in the venues.
Yeah, because it's probably the entry level. It's very easy to enter. You don't have to spend a lot of money to play, especially when we are counting GW, which most of the games are like, yeah, you spend a few thousand and then you spend another few thousand, and then when you get another few thousand, you basically can think of playing tournaments.
And then by the time you've got that, we discontinued the series. You need to buy all new figures
Yeah,
all over again. Yeah,
yeah,
yeah, we love
yeah,
GW.
GW.
Yes.
Yeah, it's a love and hate relationship. We can live without them, but we would like to.
Yeah.
Yeah, but let's go back to the games. Let's go back to the recap because we had a lot of fun talking. So
Well, there were a few upsets this week. I There's some poor rich necro team that got massacred by some bullying orcs.
didn't recall that.
Yeah, I know,
Yeah, it
but
was
your neighbors did.
maybe a
Maybe.
little. Yeah, yeah.
And I'm just going to tell you that if you got in turn 0 and your opponent has basically 3 or 4 good pieces, and you take out the Mighty Blow Strength Werewolf with a rock when that guy also has the fame, that's kind of nasty.
Well, let's face it. You got the +1 fame, and we both did get a brick on the face.
And I still lost my player until turn 16,
Well,
which
I
is
got it on
like,
my star player, which was very expensive. It's
if
not.
it was in reverse, if you lost your star player, but I did not get a rock, that I would have been calling fair because I had more fan factor than you did.
Well, basically, you are playing Blood Bowl and want to play it fair. Really, you're probably mistaking the games.
Anyway, in my recollection, I also won rerolled one with the Godzilla, so that was out in turn 4. My block dodge tackle werewolf died somewhere in, I think, the second half or first half still. So, and none of my KOs came back. So that was like
Yeah, this was the ones like.
lots of casualties and KOs against, and then nothing coming back.
Yeah, it was like when none of your KOs came back. I was like,
Shooting fish in a
dude,
barrel.
nice. I love it.
This was shooting fish in a barrel, and Novel was giving you all the dynamite in the world.
Well, it was more like nuking fish in the barrel, more than on that part.
Well,
But as
it
we
felt that
started,
way as
let's
well.
move.
Yeah.
Let's move the first game. Yeah, the Winter Devil versus the Orc Boys. A beautiful, beautiful 2-0, well earned by the Orc coach. He showed much tactical genius.
He got up out of bed. I think if anybody else would have played this game, they would have made it 5-0. So actually, I should thank you because my touchdown difference is not that big at this point. Thank you.
Well, basically, the
Yeah,
problem.
you could have made.
Yeah, I know, but the problem was that I do when I started playing Blood Bowl, especially online, I didn't have those mental breaks like don't do it because you can fuck it up, and I was like more basically he has a stronger team, so I'll try to grind him down as much as I can, and go for a safe victory rather than a risky one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think I understand. I'm not applauding this lack of courage, but I definitely understand.
It's called
And
tactics.
I think that if you look at the game itself, it wasn't so much that you were lucky. It was that I was astoundingly unlucky in losing the players so quickly and detrimentally.
Yeah, they
Because
were falling like leaves from a tree in winter.
yeah, and especially on my own turn, and then losing the players on my own turn, that was quite annoying.
Well, Mr. Elf Coach, a tactical genius is responsible for the tactics. The fact that that Varak got the star player, well, he got it because he got the cigarette and he's the coolest orc out there. So yeah, he deserved it. Duh.
you got the most money out of it. So
Yeah.
yeah, you just bought everybody else a beer, and they said you're the best player
Yeah.
in the field. We get that. But there is another upset that I was wanted to talk about. I didn't expect the River Rune Rafters, the Chaos Dwarves, against the Wood Elves to tie
Yeah, this is very
at
funny.
a 2-2 at least. I mean,
Yeah.
not 0-0. I understand 0-0, but 2-2. It's a huge amount for Chaos Dwarves.
Yeah, to be honest, also as a disclaimer, I didn't watch any games rather than other than my own. But
Mhm.
work life and other nonsense had walk inside. And if we look at the SPP distribution, the River Run Raptors got 5 SPPs, so basically the MVP, and then they got 3, 2, 4, and 2. So two of the guys, so we got 2 touchdowns here, 2 casualties,
Four
a
casualties
pass probably, or 4. Okay, so 4 casualties, yeah, and
and three touchdowns. Two
three
touchdowns.
two,
Yeah.
yeah, 2 touchdowns. So this is basically the 6 from here. So we are leaving with one. It was a catch. Did they make a catch? Yes, one successful pass with a successful catch here. Yes, 2 injuries inflicted, 1 kill inflicted. Also, and basically there are kills on both sides. And Mystic Stripper got 4 injuries inflicted and 1 kill. So yeah, and the Elves got 5, 3, 3, 7, 1, 2, and 1. So yeah, it was probably a match you would not expect when you see Wood Elves playing with Chaos Dwarves, because basically the Chaos Dwarves were doing more ball play than usual. They should,
Yeah.
and the Wood Elves were making more blocks than they should. So yeah,
Well, the basically you almost used the pun right. The Chaos Wars did more bull games, bull plays, and the war dances they danced around knocking people down. It's a crazy world out there. Yeah, definitely.
yeah. To be honest, it's a very positive for me. It was very weird, but positive on the other hand, because it shows one of the things I was saying last stream, that everything is still open, and games like this just show how much these games can fuck one person
Hmm.
or deliver us a very very even match, even though when first at first glance one team is much superior to the other.
Yep.
Okay. And we are in a good position because no team has played their match, so we can say talk about the level ups here and also in the meantime. But yeah, and the next match we got is the Blessed One versus the Bridge Burners.
Kislev,
So yeah, Kislev versus the
Chaos.
that's shame.
Now I think actually in the game of Chaos versus Kislev on lower TV value, Kislev always have a chance at the ball, and they have more guard, um, limited dodge, so they can go wherever they want as long as the team is remaining standing.
Yeah.
So 2 and 1, or 1 for the Chaos and 2 for the Kislev is I think a respectable
Well, basically, I was
thing.
thinking that it's a shame that the Beastman that got the MVP got died. So yeah, I was talking more about that. And 3 deaths of the Chaos team, so he lost 3 goats.
Yeah,
And Fail Badan, the spoiler, got 1 SPP. I don't know who would give him. Anger on 5. Ugh.
and
Like,
the
oh,
bear is gone for the match, so the Kislev will miss out on some strength for next
yeah.
week.
And basically, that Kislev is quite. The player is quite good. The team is well developed, so it's a very uneasy opponent for most. I did manage to score a 1-1 draw against him, only
Hmm.
because in the last turn my journeyman line orc decided like they're passing the ball. Well, I'll do interception because fuck yeah, I can.
That's
Yeah,
evil. Nice, well done.
Yeah, now he's now playing as my blitzer, so yeah, he deserved it.
Yep.
Yeah, first
I think
promotion in the orc ranks.
I like Kislev for its the stuff that it brings to the game. It's a totally different team concept, but I don't think it's very efficient in the sense that tactically you just have to wait until it comes towards you and then try to make it implode under its own dice rolls, because it's usually still a 3+2 leap somewhere, and if it works fantastic. But it's not like Wood Elves that do everything on a 1 with an inbuilt reroll.
Yeah.
This is the difficult team. They are hard to pin down, but if you wait and they come to you, and then you can knock them down is an option. But for Chaos, that was not an option, and indeed they got a lot of casualty scans,
Yeah.
which
So
I can only applaud. Well done, Kisla.
yeah.
We all hate Chaos.
Well, basically, looking at the statistics for the match, the ball possession was quite even on the both teams. We got 43 ball possession for the Blessed one versus the 31 for the Bridge Burner, so it was very close. Occupation of opponent's half was 6% for the Blessed ones, sorry, and 12 for the Bridge Burner, so here was a bit of disadvantages. And most of the game was played on the Blessed one half, because 37 occupation of opponents. No, sorry, on the Bridge Burners half, sorry. The Blessed one had 37%. Ha! English, for god damn it. Occupation of opponent half, while the Bridge Burners only had 18%. So they were playing very tactical probably, and just going for the very, very, very early on and very precise strikes. So they only move to the opponent's half when they know they got the option to score. And
Suckered them in and then took them down.
yeah, but basically when we are looking on the statistics as a whole, the Blessed one got 7 KOs inflicted and 5 injuries inflicted, while the Bridge Burners got 3 KOs, 3 injuries and 3 kills. So it was a very bloody match, to be honest.
Yeah, good one.
Yeah, it was probably Angran's fault that they lost, because, well, we can blame Angran on everything.
Next up is the terrible dwarves with all guard. I'm just going to call them all guard dwarves because it's horrible. It's
Oh, Hellstorm he's. Well, we just started, to be honest, so feel free to sit up and listen to us. Well, basically, this you're calling them terrible dwarves, but for me, they are one of the coolest dwarves ever, because I watch a few games of them and they are not playing a boring dwarf game, which for me is a thing that they should receive an award, because most of the games when you play against dwarves and people play dwarves are playing the same boring game. Here, a lot of very, I'll not say risky, but very high risk, high reward plays, which I like, especially that he knows very much how to play to dwarves' strength and advantages. So, and to be honest, the second match lost, but 3-2 to a much superior team in the case of scoring, shows just how a good player he is. Because
well, he made with dwarves against the Wood Elf team that's still on the not a will, but on a Pro Elf team that is still on the pitch, because sidestep is a bitch. With all the guard, it's hard to pin them down, and then making 2 touchdowns. Yeah, definitely nice. And for Pro Elves to make 3 touchdowns in 6 turns, so 2 turns each, is not a problem. Just send everybody forward, and that's not so difficult. So yeah, actually, I do agree. It's a well done game. Scoring twice is good, and preventing the score is very, very hard if the dice don't go your way.
Yeah.
So yeah.
And how are the statistics? So basically, well, this is normal. So 68% of ball position for the dwarves. It's quite normal for the dwarves. 25 occupation of opponent's half and 23 occupations of opponent of 25 occupation of own half and 23 occupation of opponent's half. And the Elves got 25 ball possession, 18 occupation of own half, and 6% occupation of opponent half. So basically, yep, game against the Dwarves. But still.
But they didn't lose all that many players.
Yeah. And the Elves got quite a lot of SPPs. We got 5, 1, 3, 3, 2, and 3, while the Dwarves got 8. So a touchdown and an MVP, 4 and a 3. Yeah, the MVP went to Garnet Gary. The kickoff return, kick, block, runner. So yeah, a very good developed player. But we'll talk about the players later. So next game in line, Revenge of the Ratatas versus Horror All-Stars. So
Skaven Rats and the cheap Necro.
yeah, the cheap Necro versus my this week's opponent. So yay! I hope he killed somebody.
I would have liked, and that's also something that I see in the. It's currently ranked first, if I saw that correctly. I think it's close to perfect as a team, but it doesn't have a natural one-turner.
Oh,
When it does, it will definitely be very
It was
good.
basically the first guy in the division versus the last guy in the division. So yeah.
Yeah, and it's quite unfair, but yeah, Horror All Stars just doesn't have the luck at this point
Yeah.
to get it done. And Skaven is, as I said, is bloody close to perfect. And Necro, if it doesn't manage to kill all the Skavens, is just going to struggle against it because it's so goddamn fast.
Well,
So yeah, well done. I think it's a fair result to expect based on the standings.
to be honest, I don't think so. I'm looking at the statistics here, and the Horror All-Stars got 5 KOs inflicted and 2 injuries, which basically going against Skavens is not a lot. And on the other hand, the Skavens got 5 injuries, no KOs but 5 injuries. So basically, every armor break that wasn't a stun was an injury. This is
yeah, but you also
hard.
have to see that he has a Blitzer with claw, mighty no claw, only mighty blow piling on.
Yeah,
I think I didn't. Yeah, and that's why it's close to perfect, but not perfect. He needs claw on that player, and then it's a menace.
well, basically, as I yeah, thanks Headstorm. Headstorm's a friend from other division. It's from my last division, so yeah, cool guy. But going back to this, well, basically, I do play Skavens. Well, basically, my go-to teams are Skavens, Underworld, Necro, and now Orcs. So I'm now playing Undead for funsies and giggles, but yeah, basically those are my teams, and I don't like to be honest to build a natural one-turner, because basically if you do that, you should only put him in the field when you have the option to make the one turn. So
which is why the team is so good. Last two sessions you said that the Skaven player should sack his players that have a stat decrease.
yeah,
And I'm thinking, no, he doesn't. He's got 14, 15 players on the bench. I mean, that's a huge bench. That alone is going to win him games, because he will be able to field those good gutter runners whenever he wants to, and can choose to avoid it when he
yeah.
wants it.
Well,
And that's
basically,
when you need a one-turn touchdown. So it's too early in his development to have a bench as big as this. But for Skaven to have more players on the bench, I think is quite a good way to offset the
yeah.
fragility of your.
So yeah, he has a big bench. So my question goes out to the division, guys. What the were you doing? Come on, the Skavens got a bench. Really?
Well,
what are we
he
playing
still has
here?
to play.
Table
He still has to play
tennis.
me. He still has to play me, so I'll just kill 6 of his players.
Well,
and then lose by 7-0.
Yeah, this is basically playing against Skavens. You kill all of them and like Oh, I lost 7-0. Great.
Yeah.
When did it happen?
When you were looking,
Yeah.
when you're celebrating a casualty, yeah.
Yeah, basically that's the Skaven way.
What are the statistics?
Yeah, so the statistics go as far as we can see. So first the SPPs. Revenge of the Ratatas 7538 and Horror All Stars 822.
Damn.
So
That's, yeah.
yeah, the Skavens got 62 ball possession, which is Skaven standard. 20
Actually, no. I think it's high for my point perspective. Skaven don't really cage, so there's not a lot of reason for them to hold onto the ball for very long. And I'm considering that with his casualties and shit, he did cage up, and then waited for the horror all stars to come to him, and then not score all that often.
well,
Because he might have been able to do 3 or 4 with that amount of casualties against the yeah.
basically it's just for me it just shows that he did not misjudge his opponent, and he know that no matter what and no matter where are we standing in the leaderboards here, his opponent still can make a lot of harm to him, so he was playing very safe. And basically at this point at the league, it's for me it's very much more reasonable to play safe rather than to go for high wins when you can just get the shit beat out of you next game. And remember, for the Skavens, if they lose any crucial player, because well, you lose an alignment, it's like meh, nobody cares. But
But he lost not in this game, but I think he started the season with a new blitzer and a new Ratter or something.
yeah,
The only thing that he really has going for his team at this point is a not spectacular good blitzer and a few gutter runners that have mediocre skills. Yeah, one has a plus strength, which is a big deal, but not that big a deal. If it would have had it on a claw mighty blow blitzer, it would have been epic. And right now it's just meh.
well, you have to remember one thing. The problem when you are playing Skavens and a lot of teams that have this tactical ball runner slash scorer guy is that they do tend to hog all the SPPs. And in especially in the online version, when you have no power over who gets the MVPs, you cannot develop your players the way you would like. So
That's not true for a lot of races that have access to agility 4, because one vanity pass away onto an agility 4 receiver gives you a skill.
yeah,
And the
but
first skill is crucial.
yeah, but when you go deeper in the line, he's got and especially in Skavens, the gutter runners do have this tendency to hog all the SPPs, because even if you are trying to get a pass, or even basically the most efficient way of getting getting SPPs on a player that isn't an MVP is to score with them. And
Correct.
in a team like this, it's in your interest to have those blitzers somewhere in the middle of the fight, or just screening, because they can hold down a lot of opponents. They can withstand a lot of punishment. Of course, Skaven standards.
they have the highest armor value of the entire team.
Yeah, and except the Red Ogre. But basically, yeah.
But it doesn't have block. I'm counting block as half armor value.
And the block, so they do beat. So you don't have that much options to scoring with those guys. Basically, the thrower is a more of preference. Some play with him, some others don't. And I do got matches when the thrower was quite useful, and ones where he was like, "Why are you even here, guy? You're just so useless."
I like a thrower against Wood Elf Triple, but I think the 4 main threats of the entire Skaven team is the gutter runners.
Yeah.
Followed by the blitzers being developed with a double. But you need doubles for Skaven to get the mutations.
Yeah, that's the difference between them
difficult.
and Underworld. When on Underworld, just build them much more easier. Because building a claw, piling on Mighty Blow, Blitzer, and the Underworld is just like, yeah, 3 normals and I'm here.
The one-turn touchdown threat, which is always there with Skaven, is so much more powerful than, for instance, even with Wood Elves.
Yeah.
That I think that if you got a full team at the end of the second half and you've got one turn to score, sure, it may fail more often than not, but it should give you a draw or a win in many games.
Yeah.
And
And
that alone is an amazing ability.
well, basically, we do have to remember that the Skaven gutter runners are probably the they are in the top 3 players in the game and in general, because of course the best player in Blood Bowl is the War Dancer. Without a doubt, this is the best player in the game.
I've got an agility 5, strength 4 ghoul. I mean, no, I am the best player.
Well, okay, I'm not.
Yeah, War
Yeah,
Dancers.
yeah,
War
but I'm
Dancers
not.
are
I'm
good.
I'm thinking about the basics one because this is the only player that he's got everything that he needs. He's a perfect
Totally.
player from the start, and anything you get is just like the cherry on the top.
Yeah.
And you put more and more cherries on the top. And if I recall correctly, the gutter runners are probably the second, and the third were probably Elven Union catchers, if I recall correctly. Skill wise, of course.
Yeah, okay. I'm not entirely sure if I follow that argument, but yeah, let's go for it.
Yeah. Okay.
I think I'd prefer wolves over the
Yeah, but the problem
any
is
elf
with
creature.
wolves that you got the you're
It's not
basically,
agility 4.
yeah, it's not agility 4 and you don't have access to strength on the normals.
As anybody can see, strength access is basically grounded if you find enough virgins to sacrifice to nothing.
If I recall
Let's do
correctly,
the
Nuffle doesn't give shit about the virgins. He takes anyone and everybody. She was like, yeah, this is the only chaos god that sits, watches and match, and he is winning, and he is losing. And how I
let's
do
fuck
that?
that up.
Yeah, how will I do that? He will lose, and the other guy will also lose, and then I'll be happy.
Yeah, that's nothing.
Yeah,
We love him like that.
yeah, the best god ever. Okay,
The
so
next guy is also a big win.
and
The
a big
bloody
surprise, to be honest.
the bloody elves against the Amazons.
Yeah,
I'm not that surprised actually. I think the league as it stands right now, those bloody elves, the blood elves, are I think the best team at this point in the game. Period.
okay.
It's basically perfect. It's got a lot of block dodge. It's got almost everything it actually needs to make a draw or win. And you see it in this game. It wins 3-0, and
Yes,
that's
that
huge.
comes very often to the studio when I record, so yeah, that's here. Tapcomat says that he sees that Darth Vader is back in the studio, yeah. And he also said that he had a wizard enchantment pushed especially for this game. Oh, so you were preparing to play against the Amazons, and how did the wizard fare, my friend? Okay, so let's start again. We will wait for him to respond. Well, let's see. SPP wise, ooh, nice. The Blood Elves, 6-2-1-3-3 and a 4.
Nice spread.
Yeah. On the other hand,
And
the
this,
Amazons 5-2-4.
but this basically to me shows that um, the main weakness of a team like for instance mine hinges on 3-4 players. The Dark Elves do not suffer that problem.
Yeah.
Every player is a scoring threat, always. and capable of picking up or losing a ball somewhere. And that makes in my mind, the Dark Elves the team to beat for this league. I think the Dark Elves will end up in place 1 if they
No,
continue as they are.
I'm intending to fix that, so we will see.
Well,
But
please do. Please do.
basically, the Dark Elves are considered one of the best teams in the game in general, and let's face it, they got everything that is needed to win those games. As you said, they got every player is a scoring potential. Every player is a capable ball handler. Every player, when wants, has a very easy chance to outrun his opponent, to jump out of combat so he can just dodge, and a lot of this is due to the fact that the team is constructed very well.
Yep.
Yeah,
nice spread of
yeah, there also is this very exotic feature of you can have an assassin. Nobody takes him, but you can have him.
I played a league team with no blitzers and 2 assassins, which was a team for that team. And I have to say, I got 2 multiple block assassins, and that's freaking amazing. 4 armor rolls right off the start on your on your opponent's line of scrimmage,
Without any downfalls, yeah.
without any risks to your own dice.
Yeah.
And whatever works is always an armor break, so it's always at least a stun.
Yeah.
Is huge. And I'm not saying that assassins are good; they are not good, and anybody not picking them up is quite
reasonable.
reasonable. Yeah, I mean you're playing Blood Bowl, but on the Blood Bowl scale, you're still reasonable. But yeah, no, I mean, getting the Witch Elf block, wrestle or block, and then sidestep makes it amazing for with one double. You give them Juggernaut, and they are popping players over the line left and right. You've got 4 blitzes that start with block. Movement 7 is huge. They've got agility access, so block dodge is not a problem. Block dodge sidestep is not a problem. If you've got a full team with block and dodge, it's not that. It's very TV efficient, and it's hugely annoying. It's basically like playing against stronger Amazons, which is true because you've got better armor value, better movement, better agility.
Yeah, the problem with the Amazons is they give all of their armor to their cheerleaders instead of their players, and that's how it ends.
Yep.
Yeah, this is when you are packing light, this is how it ends. So Top Command asks in the chat, why would I want an assassin? The question you should ask is, why would anybody want an assassin? Other than
assassins are cool.
Yeah, other than the cool factor. Because they're probably one of the coolest positionals in the game, lore-wise.
And to be fair, I also want my opponent to always have an assassin.
Yeah.
Yes, please do. Yes, please do.
Everybody, the new meta. Everybody takes an assassin. Yeah.
Yeah.
Let's see the statistic here.
Then I can at least win again.
So
the next one was an admin win.
Wait. We just didn't talk about the statistics. So Blood Elves here, 56 ball possession, 12% occupation of own half, and 33 occupation of opponent's half. While the Duelists were 25 ball possession, 25 occupation of own half, 0 occupation of opponent's half. 3 passes and 3 catches, successful catches for the Blood Elves, 4 passes for successful catches for the Duelists, and 1 KO, 1 injury on the Blood Elf side, and 3 KOs, 1 injury on the Duelist side. No kills. So yeah.
Yeah. So a steady game, and the Duelists just got outplayed. I think. I mean, I don't really understand how they ended with a 0. Because it's still block. The Amazon still have a lot of dodge.
Yeah.
But yeah, if you pick a wizard and you get the ball loose, agility 4 and 5 will more often pick up the ball somewhere, and then the Amazons are screwed. Yeah, that is certainly true.
We will look at the level ups after we end talking about the teams, because all the teams. Nobody did play their next game, so we can talk about the teams more freely now. So, all in time, all in good time.
Yeah. So the Defender Devils and the Orc Boys, we just talked about at the start.
Yeah.
And the
Yeah.
last game is the Stuku Dragons against Spawn of Leviathan.
Yeah, so as I call them, the Deutsche Dragons versus the Spawn of Leviathan. So the German elves versus the lizards.
The big whale. I'm actually kind of surprised with some guy, the Spawn of Leviathan coach, because he made 3 draws right now and 1 loss.
And
I
he's quite
know
a good
that.
player, to be honest.
Yeah, and I'm seeing that. I've been hearing a lot about Lizardman being a good team, and um, I only play against them at very low team value where they struggle. So yeah, I did not expect this. I thought that the German the Stuku Dragons that they would win, and they didn't. Which is good. I mean, I really like
Oh.
the Lisbon.
So yeah, we got an info from chat. So our great plan was destroyed by Kislev versus the Kasdorf, which played their game. Thanks, guys. You could wait a few minutes. When we started the stream, nobody played their game. God damn it.
Wait, I made a prediction.
Okay.
I said that the Kislev would probably win on account of the tackle on the Chaos Dwarf not being very important and not enough guard on the Chaos Dwarfs.
Yeah.
Did the Chaos Dwarf win or did the
Yeah.
Kislev win?
The match ended 1-0 for the Kasdorfs. Ha! You were wrong.
It's the bear. It's the bear. It's always the bear. Well done, Chaos Dwarf.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
So back to the German elves versus the lizards. So basically, why I'm saying that the lizard coach is good. I did probably mention it when I was watching one of his games. It was right 2 weeks ago. I remember that he made a 1-turn touchdown built up from chain pushes, and it was great. It was a 1-turn touchdown that every Skaven player would be very proud of, and he did it with no effort whatsoever. So it shows that he's a very good player. On the other hand, I'm quite happy that the German elves didn't lose their games and got a draw. I'll be even a bit more happier if they won, because this is also a very good player that had a very long streak of bad dice rolls.
I'm hoping he's got very bad dice rolls next week.
Oh, you're playing him, right?
Yes, and I've written that down as a win for him, because I've lost my werewolf. I'm losing. I don't have that much tackle.
Yeah.
I don't know what to begin against this guy.
Yeah,
And
to the German
I've got
elf player
400,
out there,
500.
if you are seeing this, you don't have to thank me, but I did all for you. I got rid of that nasty werewolf for you.
And you know what the most annoying bit is? I still have 500 more TV than he does.
Yeah, so.
And yeah, that's annoying. I mean, I'm actually not that good in playing 500 TV down, and then losing all the players in turn 1. Actually, I'm quite good at the last bit, but it makes my game a little.
Basically, I'm
harder.
thinking that you are probably losing is that bad word, but you are struggling with the fact that you are not used to playing at so much high team value, which makes a lot of those differences. Because when you are used to play, your league is basically very close to tournament format, which is cool when you are preparing to play tournaments. But on the other hand, when you are playing in leagues, this is a very different game in league. This is a very different game online than on the tabletop. A bit rules wise, but also a few things do work quite differently, and we are blessed or cursed by the random roll generator, which isn't as much as basically when I play on tabletop and I got bad rolls, it's my fault. It's the fault of my dice, right? When you are playing here, it's like, is it really my fault? Is it the algorithm? And which was shown time and time again that the Blood Bowl 2 algorithm that generates the rolls is a bit fucked up. So yeah,
I'm thinking that I'm both unlucky and I should play better. So I get punished for the mistakes that I do make. I'm too aggressive in the start, but in the last 8 games, I also lost key players before turn 3, which is not something that happens all the time. Is not supposed to happen all the time.
Well, top command as how's the random generator roll is fucked up exactly. Well, basically the problem is that uh, from what I have researched, and the problem is that basically all the rolls are pre-generated before the games due to the server can't holding that much up, and you get all the rolls go very much to be in the how do you call it, to be even. So if you look on the rolls, especially very much some games that were very fucked up rolls, you see that yeah, he got almost as much as 6 and 1s and 5s and 4s, especially with normal dice and block dice. So all of them quite the rolls are all these quite average, and the problem
Evenly
is
distributed.
yeah. Oh yeah, thank you. English is a hard language. Yeah, they're evenly distributed, and the fact is that a roll of 1 at the beginning of a turn, or for example a skull into a skull, isn't that bad in statistic, but game wise it can mean a loss or a defeat more times often than not.
Yeah, because even if you, like me, I then roll a dub skull and then re-roll it. Even if I did succeed, which I didn't 3 times in turn 1, um, even if you do not roll a dub skull again, means that you lost a reroll, which means that probably somewhere down that half, you will find a time where you need to roll dice, and then suddenly you don't have the reroll ready to do shit with.
Well, if you
Yeah,
top combat, if you he says that he's pretty sure that the game doesn't ensure any such even distribution. If you look, they just all sound like normal random. Well, basically, if you look at a lot of well, for a long time I did make statistics back in Excel. Dropped it because it was nonsense. But for example, the German elves are quite a good example of it. Uh, it was last week or the week before. I don't remember what. One of the games I was watching it, and this guy had very bad roll from the start, ones into ones, skulls into skulls, and other nonsense. But when we saw the dice from the whole game, they were quite evenly distributed. Looking
yeah.
from these,
The problem is that that's also not true. So if you for instance take the one reroll 1 and then you kill your own player, you get both the 1s and the 6s. So
yeah.
if you get a lot of casualties against, your 5s and 6s will probably be a lot higher. So the statistics that show at the end of the game, as I understand it, I'm not entirely sure if I'm correct, but as I
Well,
understand it, don't mean that much.
well, no. If you roll a skull into skull, it is that is it technically it's the opponent that rolls your armor.
Yeah.
So
No,
the
no, it
sixes go for
doesn't.
him.
No, they go to your bench.
They do? Oh,
Yeah.
so that was wrong with that also. So great. Yeah, but basically, and there was a lot of comments on that. And if you have time to scour the internet, a lot of people say that the problem is not the random generator. It's the fact that I don't know how it's called in English, but in Polish we call it the grain. That the because for example you start 24 games, so the at the same time.
Yep.
Yeah, so and the roles are pre-generated. They are set. So these are your role, guys. So yeah, no matter. So for example, the third role always be a 1, and the sixth role always be a 1. And basically, the guy that goes first for those roles will receive those specific roles. And the problem is that due to the fact that the game tries to go very much even, and cuts a portion of those rolls. If you got, for example, you got bad rolls and you got bad luck, you can take all the bad rolls from the game whatsoever.
I don't think that's true. I mean, that would be weird. I think that on the one hand, I do not know how the random number generator
Where nobody
is
knows that,
operated,
to be
but
honest.
it's really not a problem as long as nobody can accurately predict what the dice are going to be. So if it's not clear cut that what dice you are going to get, it's random enough. And I do not believe that there is any kind of average in uh, um, the dice log at the end does not conform to what the dice should be in terms of luck. So if you get a casualty on your opponent, that should count as a 5 and a 6 on your side, not on his side. I believe there are tools that will go over that dice log and then appropriate them on the correct side. I haven't seen it, but I've heard about it. If that's true, that gives a much better understanding of
well,
how lucky somebody was.
basically my theory goes out from an old post. I don't know if it was a Reddit or a Blood Bowl 2 forums, Cyanide forums to be honest, when somebody did a lot of well, in-game, maybe not how you call it, tinkering. It was more of a taking a lot of statistic and putting them in an Excel file and just taking out this. Oh, then I'm losing myself in English. So he took a lot of statistics from games, run them to Excel, and showed something. Because the thing that I'm trying to explain is much more simplified. Because A, I'm not good at maths, and B, I'm even worse at explaining math in English. Yeah.
Yeah,
because
understand.
I don't know half the terminology in English, but the fact is that what the dude did, it showed basically that the roles were predetermined, yeah, and that they did have a tendency to, for example, boost one player while kicking the other in the teeth. But this is all of this is basically speculation, so we don't not have, and we will never have, to be honest, any confirmation or decline on this part. So let's leave the subject.
Yeah, talk out about it in Discord if you want.
Yeah,
and if somebody got some numbers on it, it's interesting. But at this point, I agree to disagree.
Yeah. And let's move to the teams. Let's see the teams and let's start with the poor Necro. What do we have here? Well, okay, so this is the one last thing about the test. It seems unlikely that they implemented anything like that. What would be the purpose? The purpose is not to implement it that in this particular way. The purpose is to generate all the roles for the game, so they will not be generated client side rather than server side. So players cannot hack, so get better roles. This was a problem back, and if I recall correctly, this was due to the fact that in Blood Bowl 1 people do have the options to look up the roles because they were generated client side. So they would know what roles would be ahead of them. And
that's weird.
Yeah, and to cut it out, the roles are generated client side, server side, and because of that, and the fact that no server can handle generating games because there is played a lot of games at any given time, so no server can handle all of them. And so it generates a lot of roles, puts them in the game, so it can generate another roles and another and another. So the problem is that the cut from all the roles generated, for example, for all the games started and 2200 hours, is cut. Is, for example, you got lower roles, higher roles, and all the roles generated at the given hour, for example, are evenly distributed because this is how statistic rolls. But some players get worse rolls rather than other games get better rolls. This is the fact.
As long as you cannot predict who is getting the best rolls, it doesn't really matter. Basically, it is rolling a die because there is average statistics, which deals with a lot of numbers, and in a singular instance, statistics don't matter. If you roll one die, it doesn't matter what the previous die was. You just roll a random one, and it's a 1 in 6 chance on all of them.
Yeah, well, basically, like my math professor always said, the first rule of statistics is a statistical lie. So yeah, but yeah, let's leave the subject for now. Let's move to the team. So what do we have in the poor Necro team? So, Doctor, will you wear wire? So basically, Doggy number 2 is out for the next game, which is sad.
Yeah, I think he's going to lose. I'm looking at the. Are you looking by team or by the next?
No, by T. I'm looking by T. Basically, now let's talk about the teams, then we will move to the predictions.
Yeah, I don't have the teams at me at this point.
Okay, so don't you worry, my friend. This is for you. Just sorry, Discord, not here, not here, not here.
I've got it in front of me.
Here we go.
Yep.
This is the Necro.
I do not think he should fire his guards block zombie. I got a bit of that argument last time, last review.
Yeah.
I think if you've got a block guard guy, it's so powerful. It will die eventually because you stick it in dangerous places. The zombie with dirty player and guard, however, is very expensive liability.
Yeah,
I mean,
but
if you,
this is the
are
problem.
you going to foul with it? Are you going to do not? I would not have picked the double, and if you picked the double, I would have picked leader, just for a free reroll, and then start fouling in half two with it, and not in half one.
Yeah, this is always an option. Well, basically, this is the thing that we moved the last recap.
Yeah.
Necro does need guards. Because you cannot
True.
count on the fact that your werewolf suddenly just get this bonus strength, so he's still a strength-free player. So to move him so to work with him the way you should, he should have assists. And this at this stage in any league, there's a lot of players with guards, a lot of players that are stronger than you. So you need those guards. But the problem with the zombie is like he's the master of none, so he has a guard. So let's use him as a guarder, but he hasn't any defensive skills, no block whatsoever, so he'll be getting beaten up very easily. On the other hand, he can foul, but if he fouls, he will not be using his guard, so
I think this is the wrong combination, but yeah, it's you know, if as long as it works, well, it doesn't work for him, but he does have 6 guard on his team.
Yeah.
That should count for something
Yeah.
at some point.
Well, basically, this is the fact that it's always very tempting to have an extra guard in a team like this. When you are, as you said, Necro plays on basically 4, 5, 6, maximal 6 players if we count the positional. So we got 2 werewolves, 2 rights, and 2 ghouls.
I'm a big fan of 2 ghouls. But I've been given to understand that it's not a popular necromantic coaching decision.
Well, to be honest, when I play Necro league-wise, of course, I do have a tendency of starting with no ghouls whatsoever and getting them as I go, because at the starters, when every one of your team is quite expensive and you don't have extra money, so you don't have a backup in case of anybody dies, it's easier to build your strategy around players that have regeneration, because there's always this 50% chance that he might not die.
And it's more important to get your 2 blockers right, because you miss block in early necro.
Yeah.
And you already got 4 guys with no block. Well, basically you've got an entire team of no block. So no block, extra no block is not a good idea.
Yeah,
but
and
yeah,
you have to
ghouls
skill up the werewolves, the rights. Basically, the flesh golem, I would always try to get a touchdown if it's viable for me to give them those few SPP so they can get block very easily at the beginning, because basically the flesh golems work. They are just a player that is okay, but when they get blocked, they are super effective.
Yeah, block stand firm is very good.
Yeah. And he does have a bludger with stand firm, which is great, and the other is, well, as we call it, the poor version of a mummy.
Yeah, and I've got I'm looking at his pinhead and the movement 9 wolf. I love it for one-turn touchdowns.
Yeah.
I don't love it in a necro team anymore. I've got it on my own team. In the league, it's something I regret at this point.
Well,
Anything
basically,
else would have been better
he's faster.
because you
Yeah, but in this
yeah,
team,
but you're not making that many casualties or one-turn touchdowns with it.
yeah,
It's
and
still agility 3.
yeah, and the other fact is that the problem with Necro, which you always have to take in consideration, this team generally isn't that fast. When you are not counting only 4 players, because the Wrights have an average speed and the zombies and the flash golems are very slow. So basically, we are not when you are not aiming for the 1 2 touchdowns, the same movement, it gives you a lot of free reign around the pitch, but it also hampers you a bit because you have to remember not to overextend. And with the player that has frenzy, yeah, it's cool to blitz the guy on the other half of the field, but on the other hand, the werewolf just stands there and is like, "Oh, I'm all alone here. That's not nice."
Yeah, and especially when you face block, dodge, sidestep dark elves, um, like you can blitz the dark elf right next to the bull carrier or next to the bull, and then the dark elf will take you on a tour. Like you go this way, you go this way, and then 2 blocks later, it will just get up, dodge out with a free reroll, and then still pick up the ball and score.
Yeah, uh,
Uh, uh, because
but
you're away from the ball.
yeah, but on the other hand, when you got a 9 movement werewolf, you can play him as a supporting werewolf, where he's much more easy to move around and much more easier to try to snipe people because you can take the longer route around, so you can put him in a position that you are more interested in. So this is a it's not a for me it's not a bad development. It's just the one that is always like has the same amount of cons that has the same amount of pluses and minuses, so it's quite even, but
It's hard to develop a werewolf. You need 3 doubles for it.
yeah.
You need you need mighty blow, you need piling on, and you need juggernaut, and then you need block, dodge, sidestep, or something like this.
Yeah, but let's face it, nobody plans that long ahead. You basically plan your developments on most of your guys for 2 free skills, and then if they get extras, like, oh great, now I'll think of something.
Yep. Yep.
Okay.
Next team.
Yeah, next are the duelists, which didn't level up their player. Really? Really? You hurt me in my
Totally
heart.
fair. Totally fair.
It hurts in my heart. Yeah, this is why I like the tabletop. In our league, you have to level up your players after you finish the game and not before the next one.
The Amazon line woman, strength 4, agility 4, but no block. I'm still waiting for it to die.
Yeah, me too. Also, I'm still
Um,
waiting for her to get the block.
yeah, well, it needs more touchdowns before that happens.
Yeah,
The agility for sure hands, block dodge, line woman is pretty nice.
yeah, also waiting for
Um,
her to die.
yeah, well, with block and dodge, it makes it harder.
Yeah,
And 3 guarders is quite good. A bit low and light in players in my mind, but and picking a catcher is not something I would do very quickly. But you definitely do it if you want somebody to vanity pass to, because then you get the free catch reroll.
yeah, and on the
Um,
other hand, having 2 agility 4 pieces, and especially the line one that is the general ball handler, which is the bludger with the sure hands.
mhm.
It's always nice to have somebody you can pass to, because it makes you very possible to build very dangerous situations. And let's face it, a bludger, even with 7 armor, a bludger piece is always very safe. It's probably one of the safest pieces in Blood Bowl.
I prefer wrestle as well, um, but Amazons in a full block wrestle team are very TV efficient and hugely annoying. And I don't get that vibe from this team. I think there are quite a few good players, but if you do manage to get the blitzers down with tackle, for instance, uh, um, they will go down hard. And there's nothing in this team that really tells me it's going to be first in the league.
Yeah. Well, basically, I played with him 2 seasons ago, and he was cursed cast as hell by the casting team.
Hmm. Yeah, that's annoying.
Oh, and the funny thing, you know who was the one who cursed cast him?
You?
No,
Ah, Supra.
no, because I wasn't casting there. I
Hmm.
was only a player. But our friend Demigur, who is playing the Poor Necro, was our caster back then, and he was one of the curse casters.
Well,
Now I
it's
remembered it.
Amazon's,
Damn,
so
I forgot
it's
about
totally
that.
fair.
Yeah, but I forgot about that. It's so funny. So basically, yeah, the duelist coach, he didn't play against the Poor Necro, did he? No, he didn't.
And I
So
think it's a hard league for Amazons
yeah,
because you've got one Chaos Dwarf, you've got one really good Dwarf. I mean, the Dwarf team has more guard and a lot of tackle. And you will see the next week game will be the Amazons against the Dwarves. Uh, yeah, I don't want to be the Amazon coach.
well, basically, if he plays safe, he can pull it off. It won't be easy, mind you that, but he can pull it off. I believe in his skill. And basically, what I was going to that the duelist coach can make his revenge against the horror all stars if he wishes. And let's face it, I hope he wishes. Yeah, so the next team are the most beautiful, handsome coaches by the most beautiful and handsome orc coaches in this division, and the best orc coach in this division, which are my orc boys.
No, it's the worst or coach in the division. We
Also,
start
yeah,
from the bottom.
to be honest, let's face it, he's the best and the worst coach. Yep, yep, yep.
Yeah.
So I thought I said a lot about my
No
team, so
losses is good.
yeah, I'm hoping to keep it up.
You're the only player in this league who hasn't lost,
Yeah, because the duelist lost their last game, which is a pity. But
and
yeah,
you're still sixth.
seventh.
Well, not in the season that that
Yeah,
I'm
I
seeing.
was 7 when we started, so when I was looking, so yeah. Yeah, and
Oh,
probably I'm
and
quite lower.
that's because of the new gameplay. Yeah,
Oh, so
definitely.
yes. So basically, I can still go back to the 6th place. So yeah, it's okay.
It's yeah, exactly because the bridge burner Kislev just jumped you by winning by no,
No, they lost.
but they jumped you. So
No.
oh, they didn't jump you. They um Chaos Wolf jumped.
Yeah, so the Chaos Door jump. Okay, so yeah.
Yeah, they went to 5 point to 8 points, and they were probably on five, so they were one behind.
Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, that's a nice drop.
Yeah, okay. So basically, any comments on my team?
From my point of view, yeah, you shouldn't have won the last game, but you came out of it quite nice. Um, I love you having goblins, which I think is I know a lot of players don't, but just the availability of dodge in a team um, is almost as good as block.
Yeah, I know this is a
Um,
very unfair question to you, but how do you like my bludger with diving tackle?
well, considering the fact that I didn't see it for twice, I think it's a perfect annoying team against players that are not so good as I am, as equally not as good as I am. I think it's a good um, pick. I think it's hard to give goblins very good skills. I think giving it block and diving tackle is a very valid choice, and as we have seen, it works. and that is making a difference. So
Yeah.
it gives you agility access, it gives you access to cheap diving tackle, and basically that's almost like tentacles in the sense that it's difficult to move a piece off if you don't clear that goblin.
Yeah, but
And if you do clear the goblin, it means somebody will be there. So
yeah,
yeah, I like the goblin.
yeah, and he's very hard to clear because he's a blodger, which is basically
Well, half 2 die, or if somebody guards it with a guard assist,
yeah,
is still an option.
it
But
goes down to positioning, but yeah.
I doubt it will reach legend status. On the other hand, it is as good as it is at this point, and at most it can get a sidestep, which means that its development is even longer than its life expectancy. Which means, yeah, it's a good, it's a good team. You've got almost all block everywhere on the Black Orcs, which is very
No,
stable.
I got a block on all my Black Orcs.
Yeah, you need block on the Troll,
Well,
and
I
then
need I need any SVPs on the troll because from I don't know if I recall correctly, it's from the start of the season and half of the last one he didn't get even a single MVP or even a single SPP. So yeah, he's just
yeah.
sitting on that 14. Is yeah, I'm happy with it.
And I find I love goblins more than orc linemen.
Well,
So you need a bench, and orc linemen, they don't have block, they don't have dodge, and every star player point takes um, something away from it. Where goblins are just 10k more efficient plus dodge.
yeah, this is basically
Uh,
the philosophy of my orc coach who is coaching me. He says that, and when we started, he says like, look, those are the orcs. Blitzers, great. Black Orcs, great. Linemen, you don't
so
have linemen in your team. Your linemen are the goblins. Those are
well,
your
you
linemen.
don't use the
Yeah,
point that somebody of
you
mine
don't
makes.
use them, but basically those are your linemen because this is a team that if you want to play very much an open game, if you want to play very wide, if you want to adapt to your opponent, you cannot afford your half of having linemen because they are slower, they don't have
Mhm.
anything, and you got high armor, high hitting players, you got the troll, so the only thing you need those players that can squish in, do some things that you need, give you an extra assist, take the ball, or just put
Cheap fouling.
yeah, cheap fouling, exactly, and they are perfect for it because they are cheap. And losing a
That's
goblin
surprising.
doesn't hurt you much, but the amount of things you can take out of the goblins a lot.
Yeah. And there are no players that you need to bench. You want to play with your full squad and one goblin, and that one goblin is not going to kill your team in itself.
Yeah.
So yeah,
Also, the
exactly.
potential of one turn touchdown, there's always when you have the goblins.
Yeah. And if the ball is on the ground, you dodge everywhere on a 3+. It will fail, but sometimes it will succeed, and suddenly you're through the cage with the ball in your hands, and then out on the other side.
Yeah, and they are
And
quite
then
fast, which is another thing that the linemen cannot say about them.
yeah, and they've got the same agility,
Yeah,
but stunty doesn't mean anything. And there's one bonus that I like is your opponent will always be happy to see goblins. It's what you said. It's true. They don't die that easily, but the opponent will always look at it and think, this is a tasty star player point, and he may divert attention to the goblins,
yeah,
which means you can win the game.
yeah.
That's
Basic,
free. You make everybody happy.
yeah. The basic role of a goblin in for me, the basic role of a goblin in orc team is to paint a very big target on their back and like, yeah, kick the little guy. And when
Yeah,
you just when you do anything, yeah, I'm just got oh yeah, I got the goblin now, and they are looking around like, oh, I'm standing next to black orcs. This will probably hurt.
yeah, because a goblin is to you what a black orc is to him.
Yeah,
So yeah, strength 3 against 4 against 2,
yeah.
and suddenly you feel as a goblin, but you don't have dodge.
Yeah.
What is the next team?
Well, the next guys, what do we? Oh, the spawns of the Leviathan, the lizards, the biting lizards. What do we have here? Oh, so he managed to buy skinks, which is nice.
Yeah.
He's got a
He
4
got an
edgy
agility.
skink.
Yeah, a
Oh,
new one. It's a new one, so it didn't even update yet. It's amaze balls. It's finally going to get his team in the right way because
yeah,
agility 4 skink can dodge everywhere on the 2+. So if the ball's on the floor, the ball will then be in the hands of a skink. But it doesn't have block. It doesn't have sure hands. That's nasty. And he does have a very nice sidestep block skink,
yeah,
which is also good. But he definitely needs more um, skills on his salary. He needs that one strength
yeah. The strength
increase
5.
salary
Yeah,
to get
he's the block. Yeah.
a
Well,
vanity pass.
yeah, the vanity. Yeah, this is the thing that for with most players, it's only a vanity pass. With the edgy one, Saurus, like it's yeah, it's
It's a 4
viable, but
plus. It's a
yeah,
50% chance,
yeah, I know,
and
but
and
still, it's like
throw it to the skink. It's a 50% chance to pick up. It's a 50% chance.
yeah, throw it to the four edgy
To,
king.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah, but
And it's got so many players close to leveling up. It's got a 15 star player point salary with block. It's got yeah, it's definitely
yeah,
going to
two 15
be
star play. Yeah, two 15s
yeah.
here. Yeah, yeah. So basically, this team will probably be a little fatter when we meet them next week, which is cool.
Yeah, but the problem is it's lacking in hitting power. So it does not have a lot of mighty blow. It's got no mighty blow except for the big guy. It has limited tackle because it's only got one. Um, it's got only one break tackle, which means that if you tie up all the Sauri, they will find it very hard to keep maneuvering.
Yeah.
So yeah, I'm going to look forward to playing him because I've played him before, and I hope to get a fair rematch and then see if my if he can kill my wolf
Yeah,
because
well,
I think that's
let's
that's
face
his
it.
big plan.
The problem with the Lizardman in the beginning is the fact that you have to spend 6 levels on your players to get them block because the Sauruses start working when they got block.
Yeah,
After
true.
that, it's easier to development them, but yeah, it's quite hard in the beginning, and this
But
is
you never make them very easy to develop because they can never pick up the ball reliably and then make a touchdown. And touchdowns, as you said before, are the best way to get star player points.
the
So
most
you're dependent on
reliable way.
random, yeah, you're dependent on random casualties and a potential MVP. In the 2016 rules with the chosen MVP,
Much more easier.
Lizardman will be much more stronger.
Yeah.
On the other hand, in high TV environments with Claw, um, I'm not a big fan of Lizardmen because their basic strength is that they have strength,
Yeah, their basic strength is strength, exactly.
and their biggest weakness is they don't have the skills to do a real slugging match.
Yeah.
They're almost a control team like Necro, with, but then they suddenly lack the um, basic strengths of the Necro team. A very fast moving strength 3 guy instead of strength 2.
Yeah. But on the other hand, the
Um,
strength 2 guys are stunty, which means
fast.
that they are much more easier to squish through enemy lines. So yeah,
Yeah, if you're lucky, you squish them, and if you're really lucky as opponent, you squash them.
yeah,
And if not, then you're in trouble. But overall, if you look at skinks, the skinks will be your main scoring threats,
oh,
and that means that your main increase on in star player points will be in your squishy players. And yeah, agility 4 is nice and is epic. It makes the team a lot better. 2 movement ups will also be very nice. But without those stat increases, the skinks will not be. I mean, if you got six skills on all your skinks, it will not be the best team ever
Well,
because you're still strong
basically
team.
the thing is, where you're playing or development, you have to have the Saurus, which are the guys that should keep your enemies at bay, so your skin can score.
Yeah, but your Saurus will not develop in the same pace as
Yeah,
the rest of the division.
that's the problem. Well, yeah, this is the problem that you have to know. You have to know how to play it so you can have this as easy as development zone. The good thing is that he bought those skins because basically for from the starters he had like one or two skins, which was basically a lot of
Loners.
SPPs went wasted on the journeyman skins, which is always bad. Where I see,
I would have done it the other way around, in sense that if the loners would make star player points, then I would buy them, so they would come with star players
yeah, but
points
he was cash
already
deficient,
added.
which mean he
Yeah.
couldn't.
But if there's one coach in our league who can pull off Lizardman, it's some guy, definitely.
Yeah, some guy is a very good player. I played with him a very nice match.
Yeah.
Very taxing on the head because he did make a lot of good plays. It was a draw, but yeah, I was very satisfied with the game. Basically, the only thing that made it up as a draw in the end was the fact that he lost because the loner kid couldn't pick up the ball, which was like, yes. So yeah, a
But you
draw.
will agree with me that it's not likely to win the division.
Not at this point. Not with those teams. Not at this point. He can be high because let's remember that the coach factor comes in play here, and he's a very good coach. But on the other hand, it's not that he is playing with bad coaches, and this is the fact that I talked about last week. I very like this division because I think that the skill differences in all the players here is very minimal, and we are very close to our level, which makes it very fun to play because the games are very even on both sides, which is always nice. Except some games that some orcs manage to run down an acro and they just lie down and cry. But yeah, other than that, it's nice. Couldn't help
They're
myself.
still crying, I've been told.
Yeah. Okay.
Which is the next team?
Yeah, the Deutsche Dragons, the German Elves.
Yeah, my next opponent. So yeah,
The catcher hasn't leveled up yet.
So yeah, but it does have two mighty blowers, of which one is with tackle. It's got an agility 5 dodge wrestle lineman. Um, it's very good. It's got a block dodge catcher, movement 8. Yeah,
The block guard lineman is always
it's
great.
it's not a perfect team. It's
Well,
not.
they do lack in SPPs as a whole, but basically the way they are developing it and the way the Ricky Titan shows what he is planning with them, it's very good and I like it. Especially the fact that if you look, if you go a vanity look, it's like, oh, he's got a lineman with 5 edgy block, 5 edgy dodge and a wrestle. This is stupid. No, because this player is probably a very good going up as the ball sacker, because he is much easier to jump through tackle zones thanks to edgy 5 and taking down the opponent just by throwing the ball on the ground. As let's face it, if somebody has it easy to pick up the ball on the ground, it's the Elves.
Yep. And yeah, it's not a great team, but the thing that they are going to get in the next game is 500 TV value.
Yeah, and I hope they win.
And what can these guys do with 500 TV? Is a serious question.
I think that they can take. Give me a sec. I'll just check it.
They get 200k for the Eldril, so Gaze.
And let's face it, Gaze is probably one of the most terrifying skills in the game whatsoever. Because if you have, well, basically is a skill that if it works, it makes all the Texas.
It opens your cage. But that's only fair if you've got a cage that is singled out, and there's not that much sidestep. So against a pro elf team, I would be scared, but against a high elf team, not so much. But in addition to it, he will also be able to have a wizard and still have one or two bribes left.
Well, basically, he can also take how much? 50k?
So 500 difference.
Yeah, so 500. So basically, Elder is 200, and for example, Prince Moratian is also 230, and you get a
But
low.
that's strength 4 guy, right?
Yeah, strength 4, ag 4, yeah, 8 armor, 7 movement, block, dauntless, tackle, and wrestle.
And against the Necro with block and claw, mighty blow, tackle. It doesn't have dodge. It has strength, but the Necro has more strength and more guard. It's not that efficient. It is efficient if you. No, no. It is. It's that is not something that will work. I don't
Well,
know if he also can get the other guy, the 260.
no, but he
Block,
can take.
dodge, agility 5.
Yeah, I know. No, he can't. This is a high elf. It's a wood elf only value. We call correctly. Wood elves and elven union can
Or
take
else.
him. Yeah, but
Yeah.
he can take Zara the Slayer.
And that is with stab and block dodge.
Yep.
Strength 4
Yep.
is epic because it will deal my zombies.
Oh,
It
and
will deal
yeah,
against
he's
my
got stakes, so he's got +1 to injury rolls, right? On the undead.
yeah. I think for the undead, I'm not sure if it also works on the necro, but it
It
should.
is because it's. How did stakes work? Give me a sec. I'll just check it. Google, I need your help, almighty. Because I'm too far from my Blood Bowl manual, which is lying on the other shelf, so I'm not going to pick it up. I'll just look it in the internet.
I should know this by head, but
Well,
apparently I don't.
basically, it's a very this is a skill. This is an extraordinary skill, and a very one is less and less popular. So yeah,
It works extra on that. Yeah, the Camry, Necromantic, Undead, and Vampire team.
yeah. So basically, everybody that is considered undead lore-wise.
Yeah. This makes I've got a Ghoulzilla, so block, dodge, strength 4, agility 5. If she ever manages to get close to it, I'd advise my opponent to stab it. If you get it on stab, you already broke the armor. It's not regenerational because it's a ghoul. So if you get it out, it's out, and that's going to be huge. Yeah, I think those two options, and also that means you've got a bench.
Yeah.
But you don't have a wizard.
Yeah.
So the option is if you
Well,
want
the
to win
problem,
that.
yeah, the problem with the wizard, if it works, it's great. If it doesn't, you just bite your ass out it because it's a wasted 150k, which is like,
Yeah, but if
yeah.
it works, you can also spite a lightning bolt the wolf or something.
Yeah, I know because as I'm saying, if it works, it's great. If it doesn't, it's a very, as I was saying, a high risk, high reward play, because
And you have to remember it's elves with movement 8 because he's got a lot of catchers.
yeah,
That means that a wizard is slightly better because if the ball is on the floor, he can swarm the location of the ball and then do something with it, which
yeah,
is much more efficient than at most other teams.
yeah,
I mean, yeah,
yeah.
Wood Elves can also enjoy it,
Yeah,
but
how they call it, elven bullshit.
yeah, Chaos Elves, Elven Bulls.
Yeah. Okay,
Yeah.
so the next team we have here is some rich necro here.
Yeah, poor Necro with only one wolf, and then still almost 1900. I'm actually considering not buying the second werewolf on account of actually giving up almost a free wizard. But yeah, because
Well,
right now I'm giving up 300.
yeah, but basically, if you don't buy the werewolf, you'll have one less game to develop the guy, which is like, yeah.
Yeah, and that is a problem because I have a white to redevelop because my white died a few games ago. I've got a ghoul to develop, and I need sure hands on the Ghoulzilla. So I'm not entirely sure I can actually afford a fourth player to develop.
Yeah, but on the other hand, there is also a offhand chance that he might get two SVPs from a casualties or something, and then get the MVP, which is always, yeah. This is the problem.
Yeah,
If you don't
you
take
played
him,
against me. I do not get lucky.
no,
I did get lucky with the mighty blow and the strength,
yeah,
true,
you
and that was
don't
the last
cry.
luck I had because the last game that happened, since that moment I started to
There's a big chance that you
yeah,
have wasted all your bad luck, and it'll only be good luck now going your way. Unless you are
I'm
playing Blood Bowl, because this is not full way, so
yeah,
yeah.
cast the curse. Yeah, I'm already feeling it. Um, I think if I do that, I would be wise to bench the ghoul if I play with an extra werewolf. I do not need more vulnerable players
Yeah.
against this guy, and I think
Basically,
I may need something if it goes wrong, like in the OR game. I really need something with agility on the bench for the second half
yeah,
because
and
nothing
basically,
will survive.
at this point, I would put more priority in developing the right or the werewolf rather than the ghoul.
Well, I do like a wrestle ghoul, and then it's almost done. Maybe even tackle, so a wrestle ghoul,
Yeah.
and then sidestep even. But one skill, block and or dodge and block and wrestle, or dodge and wrestle, is making this single player for 90k much more superior than even a white starting out. Even without the um, added bonus of not having to worry about regeneration. I love ghouls. I think they are good. They may not be good at high team value, as I'm finding out to my sorrow, but I like having a ghoul
Mhm.
much more on the field than having two zombies
Okay.
because the movement is huge.
Yeah.
Except, yeah, I didn't get to show my, my type of playing.
No, you showed it
Um,
great. Your favorite tactic is to fall down on your face.
and then die.
Yeah. Well, basically,
Yeah.
the first thing when we started playing was like I was quite scared at the beginning, and the kickoff event with the throw a rock, which put down your werewolf and oh no, sorry, only stunned my star player, was the moment I was like, whew, okay, so Nuffle is saying you can win this. Okay,
Yep.
if Nuffle says that I can win it, I cannot try. I have to try, because if I fail Nuffle, I'll fail at the game.
You tried very hard to displease Novel in my view. I got a lot more chances than I should have, but that no.
Yeah, that's the problem.
Nuffle kept saying no.
That's the problem with playing safe most of the times, because if you don't do it, it's like if you don't play. Basically, when you play safe, you build options for your opponent. If
I
you
disagree. Playing safe means your opponent does not get the dice that he wants to really pressurize you.
Yeah, but on the
So
other end, then I can make you put the dice where I want them, rather than when the dice that you want them.
as a caster, what is your advice for this team? Yes to a new Wolof?
Yeah,
But then I give up a Zara or something.
we're
And
basically, yeah, but
as the team is right now, I will give up 20k in free money, but I can buy the wolf next game and then hope that I actually have leveled the ghoul and maybe even the white.
to be honest, at this point, I would go for the werewolf rather than the ghoul, because the werewolf, for me in the necro team, is much more crucial than the ghoul. And the other thing is that the ghoul works okay with no skills. The werewolf doesn't.
Yeah, it does.
No, the
It can
werewolf
carry
needs
the
a block.
ball.
Yeah, but still
Uh,
the werewolf. Yeah, see, he can carry the ball the same
yeah,
as the ghoul can.
yeah, but the ghoul
But
can attack with wrestle.
we are saying about after development. But basically, You got a
Yeah.
player that is faster than a ghoul, doesn't have dodge, okay, but it's faster. If you can blitz with him, and he's got the frenzy, and the most important thing, he has regeneration, which more often than not can save your ass. Which is, yeah, I would go basically for the werewolf here.
Well,
But mind you,
I'll decide it
one thing,
later.
I always do have a tendency to level the ghouls, and basically when I play necro, I don't take the ghouls at start. I take them later on, and I level them in the last possible place before the zombies. So this is the fact that I do play a very different necro than you.
Yep.
Okay.
Well, I don't play very well, so it is a new learning
No,
experience.
you lost one game and you are acting like a baby. Man up!
I lost against. I lost 3 games already.
Still, man up.
I'm
You
the
can still
only.
win them. You can still
I
win
was I
more.
was going to say I'm the only guy who lost 3 games, but Necro both Necro teams lost 3 games.
Yeah, so
So
it's down now. It's time to bounce up, to rise up and face your enemies.
yeah, I had a dodge tackle guy who could do something, but now I lost half my tackle.
No.
I'm going to struggle against all the because I need to face all those elf teams, and I'm going to really struggle with their like the Skaven with all the dodge, the dark elf team, the Amazon team.
Don't even get me
It's
started on struggling with the
it's going to be
Skavens. I
hard.
have to struggle with the Skavens, and I don't feel good at struggling with the Skavens. Oh, I don't.
Yeah,
But
but at
remember one
least
thing: you got Frenzy, and Frenzy is the poor man's tackle.
yeah, that I like Frenzy a lot,
Yeah.
but it means that you need to not go down yourself, and I'm not so good at it
Well,
against some
basically,
other things.
I think from my last season, we got a player in our division, Okim, which is basically now advanced from 4F to 1 to the first division.
Ouch.
Well, to be honest, if you look at his team, it's just a nightmare. He's got a lot of doubles, and tactic wise, he's a very good player. And I was very surprised because he was probably the first Necro player I faced online which used very good the positioning of his players, because he used the flesh golems
Mm-hmm.
as the guys that made you well, he blitzed with the werewolf, move you against the flesh golems, and you stayed there. So he had
Mm.
2 shots on you in the same place, which was
Yeah,
basically his position was great,
you
and
use
he knows
stand
that
firm and then 3 assists for a 3 or 4
exactly.
for
Yeah.
a 3 die
So
block.
he
Yeah,
was, yeah. You were basically, if he ever did fall, if he ever did put you down on the ground, you were lying in the place where he wanted to.
yeah,
So yeah.
exactly.
So basically, this is the most power of the Necro. The fact that Necro is a very controlled team, and if you know where to put your pieces right,
Yeah,
it's a nightmare for your opponent.
definitely. What is the next team?
Yeah, so the next team are the Blood Elves, and before we start talking about the Blood Elves, I want to say my personal thank yous to Tapcomat, that he's always in the chat there, arguing, throwing helpful quotes, and other things. So thank you from the bottom of my heart. I always appreciate that. Also, I love you,
A
and I hate
strength
your
5,
team.
a strength 4 block um, dodge witch elf is amazeballs. A agility 5 blitzer block dodge tackle and
Leap.
leap. Leap is so fucking awesome with agility 5. Um, a blitzer block dodge sidestep block dodge strength, which is a new skill. So congratulations.
Yeah.
Another block dodge sidestep blitzer. This is the making of a legendary dark elf team. Its amazeballs good. He needs some more skills and block and dodge on his linemen. But
But
overall,
basically,
all
this
the star play
team,
points are where they matter,
yeah,
and it's only 1800k.
yeah.
I think it is the best team at this point in the league. in
Yeah,
our division.
it's hard not to agree with you here. As I was saying, I don't play Dark Elves, but I would do fancy a runner, but this is only my opinion, and this is only a good addition rather than something that he really needs, because he has everything he really needs here, other than the fact that he really needs an assassin.
No, but he does need dirty players maybe, and he definitely needs. Did he buy a wizard stadium?
If I recall
Yeah,
correctly,
he
yes.
does. He has a wizard stadium.
Yep.
Holy hell! Yeah, it's the perfect team. It's the almost perfect
Oh,
team for it.
as he says that he got the wrestle on the lineman, and because he replaced the niggling one and the plus strength up. So yeah, those are his new developments.
Yeah, it's good development. It's very and wrestle is not perfect on a movement 6 figurine, but it's enough to reposition and yeah, you want two things. You want their block to be totally negated, and whatever is on the floor is usually uh, much slower.
Yeah.
So yeah, well done.
And they
Um,
don't suffer that much with movement 6. So yeah.
yeah, you don't want that many dirty players on an elf team because they're too expensive for it. But with 7 block dodge guys, of which 3 are 2 are sidesteppers, and all that strength, it's going to be a nightmare from almost all the other teams.
Yeah.
Except its team value will be skyrocketing, I think, maybe even to 900,
Yeah, but
1900.
basically, let's face it, in Blood Bowl 2, due to the fact that you got a very low star player count and very low inducement count in general, the higher team value differences don't boost you don't kick you as much in the teeth and in tabletop version.
It depends on yeah, it depends on the team. I find a 2000 necro team like mine to be much less efficient than this um, 2k lower dark elf team
Yeah,
because dark elves at this level are just
yeah,
amazeballs. Yeah, but I've also seen Sage and Jimmy Fantastic's chaos team,
yeah. Jim is
and
great. Love the guy.
it's going to be, you know, if you go up against those guys, it's going to be hell because you never know which part of your team will survive.
Yeah, but on the
But
other hand, let's
with a
face
dark
it.
elf team like this, you will make a good odds.
Let's face it. I'm not saying here about our because I don't know how God damn it, how experienced the players are here. But let's face it, going up against somebody like Sage or Jimmy Fantastic, we'll all probably be meat thrown the meat grinder. So those
Oh.
aren't the best examples. Let's face it. They are very good
Well,
players.
I was there when the Sage learned to play Blood Bowl, so he was not that good in his
Oh, so
first
you're
year.
that old?
uh, but yeah, well, I did, I think, 25 maybe games since he started playing, and he did 2500 or something. So there's a slight experience difference at this point.
Yeah, well, a tiny bit, but yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, so
So
let's move.
I
Yeah.
think this team is almost done. I mean, the Witch Elf is 1 star player point away from leveling up with block dodge sidestep. So if it gets a double, um, you could think about diving tackle or fend. If it doesn't get a double, if it does get a double, you can think about Juggernaut or Mighty Blow, even guard.
Oh, a pass
Um,
on the witch. That's interesting.
I
Tapcomat
don't
says
think
in the
anybody.
chat, yeah, he's got a pass on the witch.
I think he will pass the double maybe,
Yeah.
but I don't think. Yeah, what kind of skill would a third skilled
Oh, he's going
Witch
to
Elf have?
pass to get the one SPP. Okay, okay,
Ah,
okay,
yeah,
okay. Yeah,
yeah, that makes sense. Yeah, that
yeah.
makes more
That's
sense.
much more sense.
Yeah, there's a lineman with guard, which is 2 passes away from a level up, which I expect also to happen in the next game.
Yeah, he's a
And
he's a
then the other,
contender for the block.
Yeah, and then the witch elf with strength up is 5 SPV. So if it makes 2 touchdowns in that game, so pass to the witch elf basically. Um, and if that gets a double, strength 4, and then juggernaut, that's going to suck for everybody else.
Yeah.
But it's so amazing. And yeah, jump up is just a great skill for something that goes down and does not get a it's
Well,
not breaking armor.
basically, this is the part when I have to really say that on one hand, I can't wait to play the game against him. On the other hand, I don't want to play the game against him. So yeah, it's
I
nice.
want the game against him to be over.
Yeah.
But yeah, what is the next scene?
Okay, so the next are dum 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 dum. Oh yeah, the Revenge of the Ratatars. So my next this week, sorry, opponent. So the Skavens, the Skavens, the Skavens.
Yeah, I think you will be sorry indeed meeting this opponent.
Well,
Um,
basically, I
you're
do
lucky
have.
he doesn't have. You're very lucky he doesn't have claw on his blitzer,
Yeah.
because that will totally make and break your team. Um, I wrote down that that he had a claw, and then I saw that he didn't, which means that to me, um, a draw is a possibility. If somebody wins, I give the odds to the Skaven due to its
I do
huge,
have a
huge strength.
20k the 20k disadvantage against him.
Yeah, which means no inducements. Oh, you get 200 something
Yeah,
k.
I got 200
Yeah,
something. Yeah, exactly.
so a wizard or something. But
Wizard. Yeah,
a wizard for orcs is not half as efficient as a wizard
for elves.
for
Yeah,
Skaven.
so Skaven for
And
elves. Yeah.
this coach really needs to get a stadium.
Yeah.
I mean, a kickoff event or perfect weather or um, even cheap star play points,
Or even
cheap stars.
basically with the Skavens, I'll even go for the Elven Grass, which makes you less vulnerable to
Go for it.
yeah, for the go for it. So yeah, it's always nice. Okay.
And it's yeah, it's an agility for thrower, strength for blitzer.
Yeah, and basically,
Um,
even if I play good and get rid of his 2 free players, he still got a number advantage against me, which is basically the Skaven way to have the number advantage on your opponent, which is always nice.
I when I saw the team, I didn't realize he was right up there.
Yeah, he's full.
Uh, but also he's first
Yeah,
in the league,
yeah.
and I didn't see that many full metal ogres with piling on as first skill. I mean, I love it, but it's yeah, it's an armor value 8 piling on beast guy who needs to get up very on dice rolls is
Yeah,
annoying.
this is the thing because the wild animal is less punishing when he fails the roll and stays in one place when he is standing, because he still
Yeah,
keeps the tackle
Juggernaut,
zones.
Juggernaut would have made sense, and Guard would have made sense.
Break
And
tackle will also made sense on him.
no. If you're next to an opponent, you want to whack that one. But I would really like to see Guard on the Red Ogre, because that would make one turning a lot easier.
Yeah,
Because there's not enough Guard on this team.
yeah, and considering that he has the wild animal, the guard still works when he fails his rolls, which is always good.
Yeah, especially also for a Guard. Yeah, so I
Yeah.
would have expected Guard. Um, I wrote down that you were likely to lose. Upon reconsideration, I think um, you may even win because your
If
team
you
simply
curse
is.
cast me, oh, I will revenge on
I
you
love
very
it. I
hard.
love it. Yes, I wish you a lot of wins. No, but because the gutter runners are fast, but they're not fast enough to um, get a one-turn touchdown in very easily.
Yeah.
But you need to be careful about where you place your diving tackle and your tackle. if you get the sidestepper out, um, and you get the gut runner out with 2 hats, because that's going to be very important. If you fuck up pickup rolls, he will cost you the game.
Yeah, I
He
know.
will eat, and as long as you stay safe, and I give the odds to the Arts.
Yeah, to be honest, it won't be an easy game, but let's face it, when I started playing this division, I look at the teams and I was saying, yeah, there are no easy matchups here, so every game will be hard, and I like it because it lets me develop
On
more.
the other hand, you are the only coach with no loss,
And I'm intending to
so I'm
keep that.
predicting.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I'm
I'm
intending to
predicting.
keep that.
I'm going to predict. I'm going to predict loss. You will lose.
Hmm.
So you're not cursed cast for this week.
Well, technically, I am the opposite of Kurska, so I hope. But yeah, we will see. Let's move to the next team before we blow it. So yeah,
Yeah.
my favorite. Let's face it. Those are, now we are going to my favorite dwarfs in Rebel in the whole, because this is the first dwarf coach I can really say I like the guy. Never met
I may
him, but
like
I
the
like the
guy.
guy.
I hate the team.
Yeah, exactly. Basically,
Yeah.
Nightmare with Guard.
I liked the addition of his stadium. So he's got a stadium which makes his star players a lot cheaper,
Yeah.
and that is yeah, it's 30k for 2 extra star players or something.
And basically,
Means
both Barik Farblast and Boomer, basically
yeah,
the Bomber and the Passing Dwarf are 10k, which is great.
it means he's going from a bench of 1 to a bench of 3.
Yeah,
And you've got something on a line of scrimmage that simply can die. I mean,
and you don't
yeah,
care.
fucking hell, you kill it. I really don't care. It's even worse than a loner
Yeah,
in that sense.
yeah, and they are still 8 and 9 armor pieces, which is hard to do something with.
Yeah, and they offer up two special things. So they offer up a Hail Mary pass player. Sure, but if you lose both your runners, which you shouldn't, and or your blitzers, you've got a lot of problems getting the ball across. And suddenly you've got a Hail Mary pass guy. It may not be plan A, but as a backup plan, it's really
Yeah, it's
nice.
always great. And let's face it, here we have to say about the runners, which both of them are developed great. I just like, on the one hand, the receiving offensive one, which is block, uh,
Hmm.
kick off return, and kick. On the other hand, the guy that is the ideal ball sacker, which is triple wrestle and 7 movement. Great
Yeah,
on both of the guys, especially the fact that both of them work very well, and they are surrounded by a wall of very mean hard to move dwarves.
yep. And it needs a few more casualties to get to the second skill. Um, the troll slayers are developing quite nicely.
Yeah,
Although I would have picked the troll slayer with mighty blow, I would not have. I would have considered piling on instead of Juggernaut, but at least one Juggernaut player is quite nice.
yeah, it turns
The
off
blitzers
wrestle,
develop
which
quite slow,
is, yeah.
and that's something that I find amazing.
Well,
So
basically, the moment that you're look, his runners and troll slayers develop very good, and mostly in a lot of dwarf games, those are only they play mostly on one runner and the blitzers and the one or even none troll slayers. And here the troll slayers do take the spot of the blitzers, but on the other hand, those blitzers are quite good, both of them. We got mighty blow guard on both of them, which is great, and the one is 24. Yeah,
yeah,
basically all around good team with a good player behind it, so good coach behind it, sorry. And face, okay, let's move to the next one because my eyes hurt from looking at so much of guard.
yeah.
Yeah, and here
It's
are,
it's it's like you said in the first recast, precast. It's like a sidewalk filled with tiles. You
Yeah.
can break one, but you cannot never break all of them.
Yeah.
So that he got 2 losses, I'm quite confident he will rectify that situation.
Yeah, but let's
Short.
face it, those two losses were very those were very low score points difference in both of them, and he played against one of the better players, that teams that are normally very high scoring, and his loss were only 1 points in each game, which is quite an achievement for dwarves. Let's face it.
Yep.
Because we have to remember that playing dwarves against elves is not an automatic, yeah, we'll grind them down and all other nonsense. You have to play very mindful of the fact that elves can just one turn touchdown you, and it was the fact when he was playing back last week with, no, 2 weeks ago, when he was playing with the wood elves. It was basically an very even match, and to the 16th turn it was a 1-1. Basically an one lucky roll on the elf team made it a 2-1, which was for me phenomenal.
It's elven bullshit. Yeah, it's a good dwarf team.
Yeah. Okay, so let's move to the blessed ones, which are not blessed because they got, well, they got Abaddon the fail Abaddon the spoiler, which is always bad.
Yeah, sure hands, block, extra arms.
Well,
It's nice.
well, the player's nice, the name sucks.
Whatever.
Oh, you don't know the 40k lore, right?
Yeah, I do, but I don't really follow the lore all that much. I think it's a nice touch, but I think
No, basically the fun fact is that Abaddon is the guy that has the, and we were talking about GW. He has the most thickest plot armor in GW history. Even what's the name of his Warhammer counterpart? Archean, the Everchosen. Yeah. Even Archean doesn't have this much of a thick plot armor as Abaddon, but player-wise, I like his team. It's basically, this is the problem. He's in a okay place with the team value chaos wise, but in comparison to the whole division, he's a bit in the back, which makes him not as much efficient as he should be. Because if he was playing more equally team value team rather than those bigger disproportion that we have here, it would be much more easier for him to win. Because Chaos all around is a very good team after you get those necessary few upgrades in the beginning.
it's amazing if you look at his team that he's got 4 players that on the first skill do not get blocked.
Yeah.
Like the warrior with mighty blow, that starts with mighty blow. It's a common thing, I've been told, and at this point it's healthy, it's well developed, and it's going to really rip up some high value targets. But indeed, it's difficult to call this team scary. It is scary because it can easily tear up your team, but it's also
In this
not
division, the lack of
spectacular.
tackles, it hurts.
Yeah, I would have considered developing a mighty blow piling on player with block and tackle instead of claw, because you're much more likely to be able to get a lineman down with armor value 7, and then piling on is a nice
Yeah.
thing. I like piling on.
Also, two things lore wise for this team. A, why does Angron does not have frenzy? And B, where is Conrad Curse? Where is the only demonic Primarch that's the cool guy?
Well, he got canned from the team because nobody likes him from his own team.
Well, nobody likes Conrad the Curse in general because he's a fucking scary dude, but yeah. Yeah, but basically, yeah, this is the fact that a team with a lot of potential And the problem is they are a bit hampered by the fact that all other teams are he played at the moment, especially when he was his last game against the Bridge Burners. He was playing it as a team that isn't better development than him, but it's has much more skills that negate the fact that Chaos has this guys with basically all of them blitz with strength 4.
It may be me, but I'm thinking this player is playing Ramard is playing this team to be developed for next season.
Yeah, I also think.
I don't think he really cares about this season.
Well,
And if he really goes only for the next season, he's close to getting there. He needs a few more guards. He needs a few more tackle,
yeah, basically he's playing the
and
long
then he's
game.
ready for everything.
Yeah,
He's playing the long game, yeah.
Yeah.
And I think that's considering the long game. He's got a very healthy team.
Yeah.
He's got nice skills. They're all generals, all regulars. But it's enough to
this is the
have
thing
the
with
beginning
Chaos.
of a very
Chaos
scary team.
Chaos can generally go around without having doubles. This is the team that gets a double is like, wow, and big update. No, it's basically you can skip doubles and you will not lose as much as some teams.
Yeah. The only thing I don't like is he has very few Sage players. So he doesn't have anything with, I don't know, tentacles or diving tackle, or the really weird guys, with the exception of Abaddon, because going first on sure hands is in my view a weird
No,
choice.
it's quite common with Chaos players in leagues. You
Yeah,
get
because
you get the one beastman with sure hands for starters, which is your
so you don't use reroll.
Yeah, and he's your dedicated ball carrier, and he's when you get him the second skill, which is most of the time block, then basically he's you don't have to play with him, but he's your backup player. So basically,
Yeah.
you then try to score with other players, but if things go wrong, he takes the ball and runs.
Yeah, exactly. So he picks up the ball and then hands off to whoever is going to score.
Yeah.
I would have done it something like, so in my mind, what you're telling me is enlightening and quite smart. I would have waited for whoever gets the agility, because I believe agility is much better than or a double on the first one, and then
Yeah, but
dodge.
this is the thing with you have to remember that Chaos does have access to mutations, and mutations are those funny skills that most of the time they aren't as effective as skill ups, but they are very often can mitigate the fact that you don't have those skill ups.
Yeah.
Yes, extra arms. For example, if you take Big Hand, basically Big Hand is almost as good as Edge 4 and sometimes even better.
Now, Big Hand only cancels the counters tackle zone.
Yeah, exactly.
And ignores the weather.
Yeah.
So basically, Big Hand is your free weather dome that doesn't apply to the opponent.
Yeah, and also the free pick up in 4 tackles and run.
Yeah. And then pick up on a 3 still, because you don't always have,
and when you get extra rounds, which is +1 to pick up, well, things are going more and more interesting. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, so let's move to the next one, which is the Amazing Stripper. So the Wood Elves and the number of 9.
Yeah, the one thing I want to see on the Amazing Strippers is niggles on both War Dancers and movement busts on all the catchers. Just a personal preference.
No, you forgot about on the skull on the Treeman.
No. The Treeman needs a jump up and piling on. That's obvious. But yeah, he's got a very good team.
Yeah.
It's almost ready for 1-turn touchdowns, because with the grab tree,
which has block, which is important.
Yeah, but not for making the 1-turn touchdown. But he does have a guard catcher, which means it's always a 3+ or a 3 die block on the first one,
Yeah.
so the chances of him getting a push are quite high.
Yeah, but you have to remember one thing, that if you have the block on the tree, it's much more safer, especially when you are building one-turn touchdowns. It's mostly at the end of your drive,
Yeah.
and this is the moment when you do rarely have rerolls. And
Yeah, but for the one turn, look, if you want to win the tournament or win the game, block is irrelevant. It's not getting the push, which is detrimental, and not getting a push but triple
yeah, no,
skull
no, no, I
is
agree with
equally.
that. But yeah, I agree with that. But the fact that you do have a safety, for example, because most of the players, when they are trying to build a one-turn touchdown, they always have a backup plan. And the fact that
Yep.
you have this safety, which makes it, for example, you're unlucky, you roll 3 times both down. Your guy doesn't go down, you don't end your turn, which is a lot. And the fact that he has this block means that even if somebody tries to block him during the game, he's much less likely to get off the pitch or lying down and stun, which is always nice. Especially that the Treeman basically is a very hard player to basically tackle with, because he's a 6 strength and 10 armor, which is always a lot.
Yeah, well, he's got quite a violent history on his players, so he's got a lot of fired linemen,
Well, basically,
lots of
let's face it,
loners.
loners, linemen, and basically wood elves do tend to die a lot. If you're not losing your catchers and war dancers, you're in a
Yep.
good position.
And I think that it's a very cheap team at this point. I mean, it's 1600k with a very good tree, two war dancers that didn't die yet.
And
Um,
yeah, quite good development. Basically, this team is
he needs a lot more development. But a mighty blow tackle war dancer on offense is quite good. The strip ball war dancers against most of the teams with no
sure hands.
sure hands is
Yeah.
still good. The thrower, I'm not a big fan of the thrower, but I think leader is one of his. Yeah, leader is a good choice. So it will not be able to. And yeah, three really good catchers that are still alive are
Yeah, basically,
very annoying.
this team is very cost efficient because they can do a lot and they don't have a lot of team value.
Yep, and he needs a stadium.
Yeah,
That will be his one big improvement. But
yeah.
I think he's got 190 in cash. It means he gives up for free 40k in whatever. But at the rate he is going
He
compared to the
doesn't
rest
give
of the
any 40,
division,
40k because most of the players he plays
will be
against,
lost.
yeah,
Yeah,
are a higher team value, so it's safe for him.
and yeah, you don't want two war dancers to die and then not to be able to.
Yeah, replace them. Exactly.
Yeah. But I'm wondering what he's going to do and when he's going to spend the money and what on.
To be honest, yeah,
I
I'm
think
quite interested in that also.
I think he will be able to pick on. I think he had a surprise loss against the Skaven. I think he will go full on in the Pro Elf game.
To be honest,
And
I don't think it was that much of a surprise loss. This game, the game against Skaven could go anywhere, and
Mhm.
that was the game I was watching. And to be honest, it was very, very even on both sides.
Mm.
So they were playing both coaches that knew the strengths of their team, and it was like the fact that the first coach that got lucky would get the upper hand, and the Skavens got lucky first. So that was that.
Mm. Um, let's go to the next team
Yeah,
because I think the Wood Elves are really good.
yeah,
They're in the top five at this point,
yeah.
and
Basically, all
they
the
make
elves
a
are
lot.
in a good position. So yeah. So the Bridge Burners, the self-proclaimers champions of this division.
No.
Oh no, Mr. Shady did self-proclaim him to he'll out dash the bash and out bash the dash.
Yeah, that, but not with winning.
Yeah.
I love the Slan or Kislev. And they do have an agility 5 catcher, but overall, there's nothing really spectacular in this team.
They are
Um,
they are a they are a good team, but
mhm.
there's nothing that there is no cherry on the top. There's no sprinkle on the coffee. There is no there's nothing that makes there's no wow factor. However, this is a very well developed, well oiled machine.
But
When
he's got a lot of
it works.
doubles.
Yeah.
He's got 3 uh, guard on the lineman. He's got a strength up. He's got an agility up, um, which is all pretty amazing and nice. He's got some very good players, but I think he will find it very difficult to do a one-turn touchdown. On the other hand, he will find it very easy to score because stopping agility 5 leapers with dodge and block and sure hands is going to be incredibly
To
difficult.
be honest, I would
Uh,
say that in a division with less, because our division is very much a edgy slash dash division. We don't
mhm,
have that much of bashy teams, and
mhm.
those bashy teams that we have are quite, let's call it, in the defensive.
Underdeveloped.
Yeah, are underdeveloped or in the defensive. So basically, if he was playing a more bashy division, he
Mhm.
would be far in a far better position. Now he suffers from the fact that he can do a lot of dashy and bashy move. Sorry, dashy and edgy moves, but most of his opponents do them better.
Yep. Yeah, this is the truth.
Yeah, this is
Yep.
basically he loses, and he loses at the fact that the team he plays scales better against teams that aren't as agile as the elves, scavens, and elves and other elves. Even the
But even with
Amazons.
even with a loss, he still outranks you unless you win.
Yeah, but he didn't win
So
with me, so meh.
if you get a draw, you're equal, and then you will go over him because your touchdown difference is better.
And also I didn't lose to him, so yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, but
Um,
basically
what is the
as a whole, I like this team, but as I'm saying, if he would have a better division, he would shine more. He's a good
yeah
coach, and having a much more bashy division, he would shine even more. Okay, so the next are the communist elves. Prelts on a shelf.
yeah I
Ooh,
played
next
them.
game without the blitzer. Ooh.
Yeah, that's going to be slightly annoying. On the other hand, 1490 in team value means he gets a nice inducement.
Yeah. Who is he playing, to be honest?
Um, the strippers, the amazing strippers.
Oh, so this will be a fun game.
I went
Oh,
with the strippers because um, he didn't have sure hands, and the wood elves do have
it's
a,
basically in a
stripper
elf
one.
versus elf match. Those sure hands, those this extra one built in the reroll can be the thing that makes you win or lose the game.
Yeah, but it's going to be probably a very high scoring team, and the tree will find it hard to be
Yeah,
occupied.
very high scoring, and to be honest, as most edgy games will be a very bloody game because edgy teams, when they face each other, they do tend to be more aggressive in dice blocking rather than when they are playing against bashy teams.
Yeah, and the problem is the wood elf has a mighty blow tackle, a war dancer, which means his dodge catchers with armor value 7 are not going to be as safe as they should.
And he doesn't
Um,
have any tackle to do the same to the wood elves.
yeah, Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. So
But still,
I'm going to
he's a.
give the advantage to the Wood Elves in this game.
Well, we will see. We will see. I'll wait
Well,
for
the
a few
problem is he
seconds.
could get a wizard,
Yeah.
but overall I would give the advantage to the Wood Elves
Okay.
because the catchers are equally fast. If you disregard the sprint,
Mhm.
um, strength is significant, 3 to 2, but overall, yeah, it's the same amount of it's the same, catch is nice, but yeah, I prefer the war dances to make the difference, and if they do, then they are more likely to win, but it's going to come down to the dice, and elfin bullshit is a thing.
Yeah. Okay, so let's move
Next,
to the last, but not least, the River and Run Raptors. I forgot about those guys. Yeah, so the
oh
Chaos
yeah,
Dwarfs. Good team,
yeah,
good
we hate chaos
coach.
wars.
Yeah, well, basically
A
the
rookie
Chaos Dwarfs.
bull,
Yeah,
a
got the.
wrestle bull is quite a surprise.
Well, to be honest, we talk about this. This is a very surprising fact, but the fact I saw how he uses it, and he very much knows how to use the guy effectively. And it's
Hmm.
this is the thing we were saying about the bridge burners. They don't have the cherry up top. This is the
Yeah.
cherry on top because this is the thing you don't expect. You don't expect the fact that his main ball sucker, to be honest, is the bull centaur that will lay down with you just to give them the opponent to take the ball.
Well, I do expect it, but okay.
Well, yeah, now you do, but
Yeah,
basically, when you're used to playing Chaos Dwarfs, they don't go to with wrestle on the bull centaurs that often.
he's got three doubles in the sense that he's got three claw on his blockers.
Yeah,
He's got one agility one blocker, which
which
I would
nobody
fire because
cares.
he. Yeah,
Oh,
but I
he's a
would
vanilla
fire
one.
him and
Yeah,
rebuy him
yeah, because he's a
because he
vanilla
doesn't
one.
have
Yeah,
any star player points, and just on the off chance of being able to catch a ball on a 4+ or a 5, if it's a inaccurate or scattering ball
yeah,
over a 6 is a significant improvement.
yeah. It's worth it to be honest.
Yeah, and the fact that his main ball handling hobgoblin is niggled is annoying.
Yeah.
But I see he's already working on the next one, Brandon Cuttlefish.
So I'm
So
thinking that Pikey can be very, very close to receiving the "you're fired" mail from the coach.
yep, he's going to get into Trump Towers. But overall, um, he's got his claw a bit early. So yes, he does have three claw blockers, but only one of those has mighty blow, and with armor value 8, the question is how long will it survive, and is it actually worth it to keep this guy around? Um, if you got two very good claw guys, but at this point, it's not the team that scares me the most. It is not as scary as the Chaos team. If the Chaos team meets this team, Um, I'm afraid for the Chaos Dwarf over
Yeah.
the Chaos, in the sense that I do not believe that the Chaos Dwarf will survive that encounter of their close cousin kind.
Well, basically, it's difficult to say. I'm thinking when I'm seeing this team, I'm thinking I see a lot of potential in those,
Hmm.
and quite. How do you say, sorry, I lost the word. Quite interested in the fact when they will go from here, because
Yeah,
it's clearly
and
that he
in a
has a
season from
vision,
now. Hmm.
but his vision needs time, and probably he can be also trying to go more for the long game like the cast player rather
Yeah,
than going for the this season only, which I always
I
like because going the long game is always better.
I think he will go for the next season. Having said that, he is currently third with 2 wins, 2 draws, and a loss, which means he's quite a good player because he's got a lot of. He already had some quite tough games. Yeah, it's definitely not a bad player, and it's definitely I mean any player that you get out of the box with block is not a bad player.
Yeah, and dwarves player, as we all hate them, they are quite good linemen,
But
whatever.
I do think he had his worst opponents already. He had the leaping Kislev.
Yeah,
He had the um, Wood Elves. He already played draws against the Wood Elves. He had the Chaos Dwarves. He has
the
already
chaos.
met the Chaos,
Yeah,
so he's already survived that one.
yeah, and he did.
Um,
He did
and your
get.
Orcs.
Yeah, he got my orc. So yeah, he's basically he had all the well, almost all the ones. He's still going against Skavens, but
Yeah, but
Skavens.
Skaven is not doesn't have claws, so it's not
Yeah,
a big
he's
problem.
safe in game. He's safe in not dying wise, but winning or losing.
Yeah.
A lot to show, but let's face it. If he's intending to play the long game, which basically he can from here, there is an option. And let's face it, how does the leaderboard look at the moment? He's still in the third place, so even playing safe, he can play the long game and still be a pretender to end the game in the second place. Or even the first if things go good for him.
No, in the sense that he already played those players, so he
He did?
that is depending that those players will play somebody else and then lose. But he will not be able to personally guarantee that his main competitors will lose against him. That's my main point. So the
Well,
guys he wants to lose a game the most to get a better positional point on the scoreboard are the players that are already close around him. So he did play the best players already. So he's going to have a
well,
much easier
he didn't
division
play
from here
the
on.
Skavens or the Pro Elves, so
Yeah, and they are going to be both are going to be quite tough teams for him.
yeah,
And he
maybe
also didn't play the Rich Necro, which also has a potential,
yeah.
in theory at least. I
Well,
know, but at least in
yeah,
theory.
I know that you are down because you got a
But I
straight
can
of bad luck, but come on.
I, I can beat him. I can beat
Yeah,
him
I know.
definitely.
Okay, so those are the teams. Let's move to the schedule for next week. As we all
Yeah.
saw through, because the River Rafters and the Bridge Burners didn't wait for our recap, which isn't
Well, they
nice,
won
guys.
the Chaos Wars, which is quite nice.
Yeah,
Not my prediction.
yeah. To be
My
honest,
prediction: Pro Elves against the Wood Elves. I'm going to side with the Wood Elves. The
yeah,
cheap
probably.
Necro against the Chaos. I'm going to side with the Chaos because they've got a good Claw Bomber.
Where yeah, but the Necro does have good few of those good players. For example, the big zombie and the wolves are nice, and he is he is going back from being on the last place. I'm thinking this is the moment when he can start winning, and the chaos is the first step that he can make. So I'll be going here more with a draw uh, and a slightly advantage on the horror all stars,
Mm-hmm.
just because I'm thinking that if he if he uses good his positionals, he can just outmaneuver and out strengthen his opponent, especially having that mini that little mummy he has,
Yeah, the problem with the Mummy is it's moving free,
because
and
it's a mummy. Duh.
yeah, and the Wolves are, if they ever do get behind the lines, are vulnerable to a counter blitz, and the blitz will always carry a +1 strength, so that's quite annoying to be a wolf.
Yeah, but
I mean, if I see his wolf and I blitz it with a wrestle guy and I get it down, I will foul it.
yeah, I know, but this basically goes down to the magical fact of there will be a very chessy games with a lot of positional. The positioning of your players will be the key here,
Yeah.
and I'm saying
And to that effect, I will say that uh, uh, currently seventh or previously 7th player will do better than the currently last player. Even though for the cheap Necro, it's a bit unfair because he is a good player. I
Yeah,
agree. But in this case,
he got very unlucky. Let's face it.
yeah, and on the other hand, the Claw Mighty Blow, if he does leave his stand firm guys anywhere near where they can be blitzed with 2 dice, I would definitely try to get my Claw on the armor value 9s because that's the biggest value you can get. And removing those guys is a huge asset.
Yeah.
So while the Necro are strong, they also have the inherent weakness that if you remove those strong points,
Yeah.
the team will fold quite quickly. I think,
Yeah.
or that option is there
Well,
anyway.
yeah.
The next
This match
game,
can go anyway, so we will see.
yeah, the next game is the Amazons against the Dwarf.
Yeah.
I had a tournament where I played without regeneration. We played straight up a tournament scene with games where you got development in.
Yeah.
And I played 3 games against dwarves with my Amazons, and I won all 3 of them. So I know that dwarves do not always win against Amazons, but in this particular case, I'm going to side with the dwarves. More guard, more tackle, very good piling on.
Where
I'm
basically
yeah
the dwarves outskill the Amazons as for
yeah,
player development wise.
and coaching skills. As far as I know, the dwarf coach is good, and he will be able to.
Yes, he's quite amazing, let's face it, and it won't be an easy game for the Amazons, but on the other hand, the Amazons,
I won't be surprised if it's a draw, because dwarves are just not that fast. But I'm giving the edge to the win.
especially that he
If anybody
showed us
wins,
that he can
the guard
win,
is.
even if he loses for a very small margin and scoring a lot because two touchdowns for dwarves in a match
Yeah,
is quite a lot.
exactly. We get the Castle Orcs against the Ratatas. Um,
Yeah,
yeah, we don't mention that.
yeah.
The Leviathans against the Blood Elves. I wrote down that the Blood Elves perfect team. If Leviathan gets a draw, I would say it's totally epic. I think he's on a roll. I mean, he gets a lot of draws, but it means he doesn't lose. But if there is a win, it's probably the Dark Elves
Probably
because
yes, because let's face it,
they're
they are
damn good.
they are better development with more skill wise, and they are almost finished while the Leviathans are in the beginning of their development cycle, which means
Yep,
that the elves have a very good advantage.
I agree. And the last game is also something we should not mention: the Dustuka Dragons
Yeah, the German elves
against
versus the Necro.
the rich Necro.
Yeah.
Um, Yeah, I'm not liking the Rich Necro chances because it lacks the tackle. It has too many new plays with no block. Um, agility is superior over
Much more superior on
in
the
that.
elf side, yeah.
Yeah, it's the I'm going to do my best. I'm also going to do my best to tear a new one in the entire team. But chances are not entirely on my side.
No, the favor is on his side, but on the other hand, let's face it, he did have preferable matches before and lost due to, let's face it, bad luck. So if he has more
Yeah,
bad luck than you, yeah, he can
but
still lose it.
we all both have bad luck.
Yeah.
So
So basically, the basic question is who would have more bad luck?
who kills himself the fastest?
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. hmm Um,
No.
in that case, I have a possibility.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I'm going to invite him if he listens to this podcast. Please contact me for a date on our game, because Thursday next week is already quickly. And have fun in the games. Have fun, everybody, in this coming week.
We hope to see good matches. Also, the Rattatas player, I'm here. Feel free to contact me. I will send you after this recording. I will send you the on the Discord my preferable moments of play. I hope we can match them somehow. But I do have a very busy week and a upcoming tournament on the weekend, so it will eat a lot of my time. But from my side, I also wanted to thank you, Sir Sebastian, for joining me here.
I was honored to be able to do this.
Yeah,
I found it more funny than I expected.
Yeah, the recasting is fun, and thank you for joining me. Also, thank you, our Top Combat, for being here as always, which is always nice. And let's face it, see you on the pitch, and see you next week.
See you next week.
Bye.
Bye.